The next step is to identity prime your target in the opposite direction of the most common objections that you hear or the objections that you fear the most. For example, let's say a common objection is, I need to think about it. And you're afraid that if they say, I need to think about it, you won't know what to say and to counter that. So here's how you identity prime somebody in the opposite direction. When they're talking, when they're answering the questions, you say something like this. I don't know what it is about you. Maybe it's the way you thoughtfully answer the questions, but it makes me feel like you're the kind of person that makes a strong decision based on your intuition. And once you make a decision, once you can trust your intuition, you don't need to think about it like some other people. Am I imagining things, or is this more or less correct? And because needing to think about it is a weak ego trait, and making a strong decision based on your intuition is a strong ego trait, they will almost always say, yes, that's correct. And they will have identified as somebody who makes strong decisions without needing to think about it. Or let's say they commonly say, I need to check with my spouse. I need to check with my partner. I need to check with my brother or sister or whatever. I need to check with somebody else. You can identity prime them in the opposite direction. I'm not sure why this is. Maybe it's how you thoughtfully answer the questions. But I feel like you're the kind of person that when you see what you want, when you have a strong intuition and you feel this strong intuition, you can trust your intuition and you make a decision independently without needing to reference other people like some people do. Am I imagining things, or is this correct? And again, they'll probably say this is correct. And you can solidify this with a presuppositional question and a double-bind either-or question. When you feel that strong sense of decision, when you feel that strong intuition that compels you forward, where you make strong decisions that work out, is this a specific feeling that you get, or is it kind of a deeper intuition? And even if they don't know which is correct, so long as they start to contemplate which is the right answer, they will have accepted the presupposition that they make strong decisions without needing to check with other people or whatever identity you have primed them with that is in the opposite direction of your most feared or most common objections. The next step is to identity prime them with some pro-social traits. Remember, we are programmed by evolution to believe we belong in the top echelon of society, the top 20%. And there's a collection of traits that we all believe we have in an above average capacity. We believe we're smarter than average. We believe we have higher than average social intelligence. We believe that we're stronger leaders than the average person. So when you identity prime somebody with these pro-social traits, they will subconsciously associate the purchase of your product or the agreement with your idea with having these pro-social traits. So buying the product will validate the deep evolutionary desire to be in the top echelon of society. This is the underlying principle behind all conspicuous consumption. So pick a few pro-social traits and identity prime them. I'm not sure why I understand this about you. I'm not sure if I'm imagining things or not, but it feels like, maybe based on how you answer your questions, that you seem to have a higher than average level of social intelligence. You seem to be somebody who can understand things in a way that others can't. Am I imagining things, or is this correct? And they'll say, yeah, kind of. And then just solidify this by asking a presuppositional question with a double bind. When you feel that strong sense of social intelligence, when you feel that strong sense of leadership, when you feel that strong sense of being able to make a strong decision, when you feel that strong sense of being able to explain things to others, when you feel that social trait, that pro-social trait, is this more of a specific signal that you get inside or more of a vague feeling? And whichever they choose, even if they don't choose, even if they just start to contemplate which might be the better answer, they will have accepted the presupposition that they have this pro-social trait, and they will subconsciously associate having this pro-social trait with the purchase of your product or the agreement with your idea, and this will validate their subconscious desire to be in the top echelon of society. The next step is to simply describe your product or service or idea. And you can do this very, very simply. You can just remember what they said when you expanded their desire map, and remember some of the phrases they said when you expanded their desire map, and just describe the product or service or idea using as many of the same phrases and words that they use, so there's an overlap. If they've said they want an SUV that's safe and comfortable, just say, look, this SUV is safe and comfortable. If they said they wanted a house in a nice neighborhood with low crime rates and a good school, you can say, look, this is a perfect house. It's just like you said, it's in a safe neighborhood with low crime, and it's right next to a good school. So long as you describe your product or service or idea in the same language and phrases and words that they use when they describe their ideal desire, they will see it as a perfect match. But it's important you don't tell them this. You kind of say, hey, look at this, in an off to the side way, so they can make their own decision, so you can protect the integrity, validate the integrity, respect the integrity of their agency. And this will be the easiest way to close anybody, to sell anything to anybody, and get anyone to go along with your ideas.